Okay. Um, all right. So, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for attending our quarter 3 first meeting with our charity, I Have Wings. I am so excited to work with this organization. We've been talking about doing it for a little while, and we've brainstormed some different things, and I love what they do. I love their mission. I love some of the cool things they got going on, and so I'm really excited for you all to learn more about their organization and the things that they do as well. So I'm going to start just really quick about talking a little bit about our curriculum, and hold on, I'm bringing up my notes. And just to kind of go over what this quarter is all about. Quarter 3 is all about problem solving in the brain. So as last quarter was about creativity and play, what we do with the Women's Think Tank is all about creativity, but it's also about problem solving. And so we take that problem solving into the real world, and we help the charities that we support with whatever their problem or their challenge is. And so I have provided through that quarter 3 curriculum, there's lots of different resources, books, videos, articles, all about problem solving, but also the brain. The brain is this amazing thing, and there's so many wonderful resources that tell us how to kind of treat our brain well, because it's just so important. So a couple of resources that I'll just mention really quick that are on the quarter 3 curriculum, the problem solving. So this is one of the recommended books. And as I always say, I have all the books that are on the curriculum. So if you need them, just hit me up. I've got them. You can also find them. They're all really well-known books. And so hit up your local public library, Amazon, B&N, whatever. Stop Guessing. This one, The 9 Behaviors of Great Problem Solvers. This is a super little, easy to read book, all about problem solving. And it breaks it down. And I've got a couple of notes here because I just wanted to just briefly, so that's why I'm looking to my side, hit on the main points. It talks a lot about how it's harder to solve more difficult problems than your super easy problems, obviously. So you have to stop guessing when you're dealing with a harder, more difficult problem. And so that's the whole name. So stop guessing, stop just the brainstorming, start using more of your problem solving skills. That entails using your natural senses and tools to develop more relevant questions. Also use your, embrace your ignorance. And so say, okay, I don't know more about this, or I don't know enough. Let me dive in, do some more research, and try to really figure it out. Then trying to come up with what is at the root. Do I actually know what I'm trying to solve for? Do I know the root of the problem? Then when you get to the root of the problem, look for the simple solution, because when you hone down and you really look at the root, there typically is a very simple solution. And then stay on target and focus on that problem. Don't be trying to bring in a whole lot of things that really don't go with what the root of the problem is. So it's a good, easy read. It helps if problem solving is something that you have to do. It helps with both your personal and professional life. It can even talk, about, oh, I need to lose weight. Or I've got this issue with, my furnace, or whatever. I don't know, but it resonates for both your professional life as well as your personal life. Then another book that I have historically given, I may have even given this book to some of you guys. I give this out a lot. It's called Brain Rolls. And it talks about our brain as it has evolved over the years, but the things that it still needs to really work and be productive and thrive in our life. So our brain needs exercise. Our brain needs good nutrition. We need to manage our stress. Little bursts of stress is okay. It's good for us, that fight or flight. But when we have that sustained stress, That's what is not good for our brain. Let's see. Stimulating your senses, getting out, enjoying things that really, where you have to feel the breeze on your skin, where you have to smell the flowers, where you touch things different or with different textures. And just really this all-encompassing sensory experience is good for our brain. Memorizing things, learning a new instrument, or just listening to music. All of these things are very good for our brain and the development of our brain. And as we grow, our brain is malleable. So however many years we live, that's how many years our brain is growing and recharging and changing. And so we can learn just as much, the older we get, and that's really healthy and good for us. So there's lots of really good resources on both of those things, problem solving as well as the brain. One particular lady I want to mention is Dr. Caroline Leaf. I heard her speak at a seminar one time, and she's phenomenal. And I now follow her on Instagram. She has books, she has videos, she has a video on our curriculum page. She's just super cool, super positive, talks about like that body brain connection. That's Dr. Caroline Leaf, and just super cool. So definitely check out her stuff. So just don't forget, there are all those, I always say, the Women's Think Tank is what you put into it. The creative problem solving and the charity is one piece of it, one amazing piece of it. We get to work with such great charities and give back to our community, but it's also about you and your personal growth and development. So make use of those resources. They can be a big help. So I will stop talking now, and I will give it over to Janet and Monica. Janet, I met, I'll just briefly introduce Janet. I met through a women's networking thing, and she started talking to me a little bit more about her charity, and I was just like, oh, I need to know more. And so we connected again, and I learned more about it, and just really intrigued by what they do, but also some of their challenges and some of the services that they offer. And then she connected me with Monica, and we dove into it a little bit more, and here we are. But I will let them tell you a little bit more about how they started, how Janet started I Have Wings, how they've continued to grow, and kind of what they do now. So thank you all so much for coming and sharing more about I Have Wings.
Well, thank you so much for having us. And Mon, are you on here too? I don't see everybody.
She is.
Okay.
I'm here, yes.
Okay. Well, a little bit of background. I'm a survivor. I was diagnosed on my 40th birthday, and I was talk about stress. I was a newlywed, 3 kids of my own, blended family. So I had a new job. We bought a new house for our blended family. And then on my 40th birthday, just still a newlywed, was diagnosed with breast cancer, stage 2 positive lymph nodes. And I'm now a 21-year survivor. So that's all good. In I would say the first 15 years of my diagnosis, I had 10 surgeries. So it was pretty much the gift that kept on giving. It was quite overwhelming. I started I Have Wings in 2002. So we've been around quite a long time. Monica has been with us exceptionally long time. Monica, when did you join us?
Just around 99.
Well, I was diagnosed in 99.
Oh, I'm sorry, in 09, sorry.
09, okay. Still over 10 years, yeah. So she's been around a long time. She's been our reigning president for 8 years, right? No, 4 years?
4 years, yeah.
Okay, 4 years.
4 years, yeah.
And then it was a double whammy, but 4 years. So, and before that, she was the vice president. So she's knows everything, that the ins and outs of the foundation for sure. So basically what we do is we help families emotionally and financially, but that's not all we do. We are we take each individually family, and we just kind of dive into what their needs are and what their core needs are, because everybody's needs are different. And sometimes it strictly is emotional. So we send care packages. I wrote a book back in 2008, not, I think, no, it was 2000, I don't know, 12, I don't know. But anyway, it was, we got it published, and we send that to all of the survivors that are going through treatment. We send them hand quilted wings. We send them gift cards for food so that we can provide nutrition during their chemo treatments, during their radiation, provide food for their children, provide nutrition for their children. And then we also provide gas cards so they can get to and from their doctor's appointments, so they can have some independence. But on top of that, we also do scholarships. We have provided lift chairs. We provide prosthetics, no questions, because we want to make sure women have self-esteem during that period of time. We provide lymphedema compression sleeves, wigs. There's so much that we do. And like I said, we take everybody on a one-on-one basis. Today, I was on the phone with a young woman. She's in her 30s. She's got 3 children. She was diagnosed with breast cancer. She went through chemotherapy. She had a double mastectomy. And then the next month she got pregnant. And so now she had to quit her treatments. She can't do radiation. She's got the 3 kids, and then she got an eviction notice. So we're like, okay, well, what do we deal with first here? You know, so it's like you got to peel away the onion layers to find out what their core needs are, so that we can help her in the most beneficial way for her. So there's a lot of uplifting things we do. We're like providing like 8 scholarships. We have a Christmas program, which she will be a part of because she was diagnosed in this calendar year. We have a committee that does a Christmas program where we provide gifts for the kids and the survivor, and also their holiday dinner. So, Monica, anything else?
An overall thing that always catches my thoughts about I Have Wings is wings means with inspiration, no one goes solo. So all the things that Janet talks about, it means no one is literally going solo in this case. Like we want to, when somebody reaches out for assistance and they have found us, we do pick up the phone. We want to call them because we want that personal connection. The emotional support is what I call is priceless. I will say I'm not a survivor. I'm here. Janet and my mom have been friends since high school. So for me, it's just the way of giving back. But the foundation itself, I feel, is a hidden gem that we can help in so many different ways. But emotional support is priceless to me. And being able to pick up the phone and Janet listening to them, or another survivor listening to them and just being able to vent, or how can we help you, and figuring out, like she said, all the different kinks in their lives that they could be going through, because the only thing we aren't going to help with is medical bills or pay their rent, so everything else we're willing to look at the spectrum and say, what can we help you with? And not just to a specific way. We want to make sure the kids are helped. The kids have an amazing Christmas. If they need, I think she bought a chair for somebody, or we try and help with furniture if they're having issues, all of those different things. But giving back to the community is even more fun, I think, with the foundation and getting involved with high schools. We've got, if anybody's heard of Playing for a Purpose with St. Henry and Notre Dame's volleyball game. We've dealt one at Cupcath called Colonels for a Cause. We do give a scholarship to a deserving senior. But my daughter even loves to go through and see all these things that the foundation can do. And and Janet, I don't know if you want to talk about how we have come to where the bling bling jewelry started and how we've gotten to be known for our bling bling jewelry.
Well, I think it was back in like, well, our first spring bling, we've had how many? 13? I think we've had
Yes.
13 spring blings. So I think we had maybe 2 spring blings. And then I went to the board and just said, hey, you guys, I know you got jewelry from the 70s nobody wants. So cough it up and bring it in. We're going to clean it up. We're going to put it out at our next spring bling. So we did. We cleaned the jewelry and then we put it out for sale for $1. And it was such a big hit that we put a little flyer together, and I do a lot of public speaking. I go into the high schools and do a lot of teaching. I mean, not even high schools. I do high schools, colleges. I've been in just corporations that, you know, say we're having breast cancer awareness week. Can you come and speak to our company? So there's a lot of educating that is behind the scenes, health fairs, whatnot. So I started taking this flyer out and handing it out whenever I was in the public eye, just saying we're collecting old costume jewelry. And it started coming in, which was great. You know, we had a nice flow of it coming in. And then I got contacted by this magazine, and it was Women's World magazine. I wasn't familiar with it. And she said they wanted to do a little thing on spring cleaning. You know, would I let them put in something about our bling bling jewelry exchange? So I had to go out and buy the magazine because I'd never heard of it. And it was like a newspaper. It was like the Inquirer. It wasn't like a glossy magazine, but I could see where women would hold on to it for a long period of time. So I went back to her and said, yes, you can put it in there. Well, literally from the day that magazine hit the newsstands, I'll say, we were swamped with jewelry coming in from all over the US. We were getting between 10 and 15 boxes of jewelry a day. So at that point, we had to get 2 PO boxes. I had to get a group of women that could help me get this jewelry, sort through it. There was people writing letters and saying, I'm sending my wedding rings because my mom died of breast cancer, and we're getting a divorce. So, I mean, you can't sell wedding rings for $1. So then we had to start working with a jeweler. And then some of the things had real diamonds, and we're working with another fine jeweler. And then we're working with a pawn shop. Then we're donating jewelry to a lady to make shadow boxes so she can raise money for a mission in Nicaragua. And then we're donating jewelry to Dress for Success. And then we're donating jewelry to Cinderella's Closet. I'm telling you, you've never seen so much jewelry in all your life. Well, since COVID, we've had to cancel our spring bling like 4 times. We were going to have it in April. Then we knew that wasn't going to work. So we postponed it till June. Then that wasn't going to work. Then we thought about having it in October. Then that wasn't going to work. And then we said, well, let's just go ahead and schedule it for next April. And then that didn't work. So literally, we have not had a spring bling, but the jewelry keeps coming in. And now we have 2 designers in New York and 1 in California. I just got word from the company Justice that sells kids' clothes. They went out of business up at Crestview Town Center. They're sending us 25,000 pieces of kid jewelry, brand new. So people find us. We get jewelry from all over the world now. It is ludicrous how much jewelry we have. I said, when I die, just dig a hole and bury me in jewelry, because we have got that much jewelry. We've got bins of jewelry to our ceiling in our office, of, you know, bins of bracelets and bins of necklaces. So our jeweler called me yesterday and said, and all the stuff I took him to go through, he found an 18 karat diamond ring. So it's like, we have to go through every single piece of jewelry and make sure that we are not selling something that's worth a lot of money for $1. But our pop-up sales through COVID has really kept us going. We were just down at Grant County at a fair down. It wasn't a fair; it was a vendor fair of sorts. And we did that. And then we have another pop-up jewelry sale going on at an assisted living in Union. We have our jewelry now at a consignment store, a boutique in Florence. We've had it at the Florence Antique Mall, which is now going out of business this month.
So these are the different ways that we've been able to supplement the income for, since we don't have an event. And so those are just some ways. That's our largest fundraiser besides our donors that, you know, that go out there, and we have businesses that continue to support us each year.
So our problem is we have all this jewelry. It has continued to come in, and we have to get rid of this jewelry before we get avalanched with it. And we're trying to think of ways to do it. The problem is it is a very physical job. A bin of bracelets could be 250 pounds. So we are constantly trying to figure out how many people are going to attend this event. So we went to the funeral directors conference in Louisville, and we toted a whole bunch of jewelry to Louisville. We made about $1,000, and it wasn't even $1,000. So it's like, gosh, was that really worth it? There was a lot of people there, but we're selling jewelry for $1. And this is really cool stuff. We could sell it for more, but we have so much of it. Should we really sell it for more? And then, like, we're going to be at the Little Treasures in Latonia. That's a whole week. We need volunteers for that whole week. And yes, we may sell a lot of jewelry, but again, it's still $1 and you have to pay for that booth. So, I mean, obviously the jewelry, there's no overhead. We need a way to turn that jewelry in from a $20,000 moneymaker to a $200,000 moneymaker to support the foundation. And, you know, having an event is great and fine. And we're talking about doing that now, as having an outdoor event. And we've talked about, you know, what millennials want. But the thing is bringing millennials in, because our foundation has been around so long now that all the people involved in it are getting older. And we got to bring in that younger generation, not only for volunteers, but to just know who we are, know our mission, be aware of us, and support us. What kind of questions can I answer for all you ladies, or Monica?
So the challenge is, how can you turn the jewelry around quicker and get some additional money from that?
That and the marketing behind getting the millennials in there. So it's kind of all together. We got to get the millennials to be involved. We have to draw them in. So the event that we've considered having is, what in my brain, I'm calling it the Bling, Brew, and Bark, because millennials seem to want casual outdoor events, food trucks. They want to be able to bring their dog. So we want to kind of give them whatever they want so that they come in and see who we are. So if we do that event, how do we bring in that younger generation and market to them?
Mm-hmm. Do you know, like, the breakdown? I'm curious, like, do you guys know the breakdown of demographic in terms of, like, the survivors that you work with, like, their ages?
Well, I would say from 40 to 65, but and primarily women, of course, but the majority, like our spring bling, say there's 500 people in a room. Gosh, there's probably easily 120 survivors in that room that have a compromised immune system. I am never going to get those women who are 50 years old that have a compromised immune system in a room with 500 people and no windows ever again.
Yeah.
That won't happen.
Yeah, that's a good point. Very good point.
So yes, I have to bring in a younger crowd. I have to.
So, and we'll see what the exact challenge is next month, but definitely a lot of things around the jewelry, a lot of things around speaking to a younger demographic, a lot of things about events. And so, what are some things that have gone really well in the past? I know, so your spring, the bling and goes really well, right? In the past, historically, it's been very successful, correct?
Well, and I think Monica can speak to that because she's been the event planner on the spring bling, which was a sit-down luncheon, versus when we changed it to the bling and brew just 2 years ago. We changed it to, and we moved it from a Saturday to a Friday night. So we were seeing that we needed to make some changes. And you want to speak to that, Mon?
Sure. So, and pardon the background if my family's here. So, that when I started the bling or the spring bling, it was always a Saturday afternoon luncheon, and the goal is always to make it about the survivors. So we'd always have time to come in, and the ladies could always shop. That was the biggest thing that they loved to do. We always had a silent auction. We had what we call like a Chinese auction, where you buy the dollar tickets and stick your tickets in. I know that might not be the correct name for it these days. You'd have a split the pot. We'd always have a raffle. So a full on agenda going on that we would plan, because you'd have a sit down lunch, a guest speaker during lunch, and then of course what we learned as I started taking it on year after year is that you try to keep the ladies stop from talking, because they'd sit down and they'd be with all their friends and they want to talk and talk and talk, and then you have these guest speakers that are trying, or we're trying, not only like a speaker, but Janet's trying to talk, and they just kept going on and on and on. I was like, these people don't want to listen to a sit down luncheon anymore. They want to just mingle and have fun. And so we decided to take it away from that Friday or that afternoon luncheon, and we did get some people upset because they enjoyed coming in. It used to be very fancy. I mean, Janet used to be in a very fancy dress, and there used to be men in tuxes, and it just started to become more and more casual. And then the fact that we even brought it to a Friday night, because we wanted to get more men involved too, in the case, not just a ladies' day out, but certainly enjoy that. It started to be a great event. As we changed it, I was certainly surprised, just because I outdid myself, knowing that the evening event was so successful. I was like freaking out the whole night going, oh my God, this is awesome.
There was like 100 men there.
We just kept on and on about how well, and what people love the most is they kept asking about jewelry. So we just kept giving them more time before we'd open early so they could shop, and even people would be constantly through that jewelry. Even the people that worked the event got looking forward to coming to work the event so they could look at the jewelry and shop. So we just kept finding these things that were niches that people loved so much. We found jewelry was easy just because we, trying to get donations for baskets, and that just kept getting to be a bigger challenge every year. We used to host a gift gathering party when I first came on board, and those have definitely gone to the wayside of gift gathering parties, of trying to get gifts for your silent auction and or your smaller pieces. But overall, we'd always recognize the survivors. And I turned it kind of into a party, is the way I loved it. Like, we had a DJ. The last one, we had a photo booth. Like, we are here to celebrate and just have a ball. And we eventually had a dance floor. So that it was a celebration.
That's great information. So I think one thing too, then, like Janet mentioned, with COVID and knowing now what we know going forward, events kind of are changing. Some are going back to the regular events, but with the demographic being breast cancer and a lot of women that would attend, like Janet, I hadn't really thought about that. That's what my brain was, a lot of compromised immune systems. So so maybe they have to work differently going forward.
I'm sorry, my phone was about to die, so I'm working my way around to find a plug. Of all the times, I'm like, really? My phone's gonna die.
Are there any other questions about I Have Wings, about their funding, about events, about staffing, about anything that might help you when you do get ready to work on their challenge?
Is the jewelry always $1? Like, even if it's like a more expensive piece, like, is it always $1?
Well, we have more recently, within the last year or so, we have received jewelry that is from a designer in New York that is very expensive. It's not gold or silver, and it's like $800 for a necklace. And literally, you're gonna love this. We sell them for $5. And we have jewelry that is sterling. We have beautiful sterling, and we have a lot of sterling, to a point where we've even we weigh it to see if it's more than an ounce of sterling, like a bracelet, because sterling is so high right now. We just melt it down. And but we do have some beautiful sterling, and we sell sterling for $5. I mean,
So
it's crazy.
at the event, it would just mainly be like at our past events, we'd have dollar, and then there would be a sterling table that would be separate from these dollar pieces in the event, so that in the $5 ones, the sterling went fast. Everybody went to that table and pretty much always bought that stuff off fast. But in an event setting, we did just have the dollar and the $5 stuff.
You know, the question, could we sell sterling for more? Yes, we could. We would sell less of it, and we have so much. We don't want to hold on to this stuff. It's just collecting dust in our office, you know, at this point. That's why we've worked with some. Now I do have a girl, Michelle, who we're working with an auction, and so she gets all the stuff together for Resettled Life, which is a web auction, and we usually give them 100 lots every month to do Resettled Life. But she's getting those together, and then she gets together all the jewelry for the boutique. We also have a boutique up in OTR, so she gets all the jewelry together for that. She gets all the jewelry together for the Florence Antique Mall, because these are all different demographics. So like the consignment shop, they want like boho stuff. So she's going through all this jewelry trying to find boho stuff. And then the one little shop, they want vintage. So she's going through and finding all the vintage stuff. Pearls, we have tons of pearls. Some of them are real. A lot of our pearls are real. We can't sell them. Even a jewelry store. I mean, if we had somebody that could buy our real pearls, it would be amazing, because we have tons, and we sell them literally for $1. And then, what else was I going to tell you? Something about the pearls. Oh, watches. Oh my gosh. Nobody wears watches anymore. So everyone is sending us watches. We have got probably 10,000 watches. And I need somebody that would be willing to buy these watches for parts. So think of every single piece of jewelry you own, and that's a separate category for us. Mini me. We have a category called Mini Me, which is just stuff for kids.
It's interesting. It's super interesting.
Amanda, I did have a question. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I didn't raise our hands, and I'm going ahead and giving you my experience. I don't know if you heard my prequel to it or not, but anyway, I've been outside. So you mentioned the website, like an auction, an online auction. Have you done those?
You know, they don't bring in a whole lot because when people go to an auction, they want to get it for that great deal. So, but we feel like, you know, if we sell it for anything more than $1, it's benefit to us and we didn't have to pay for the jewelry. So the auction, you figure 100 lots, and we've averaged, the last 2 checks have been about 100 or about $1,000. Well, the check wasn't actually, because we have to pay them $75 and I don't know, 30%. So you're paying them $75 plus 30%. We made over $1,000. We actually got about 600 and something. So yeah, I mean, it's something, you know, it's $600 or $700 a month, but boy, if we could, I mean, Monica does a lot of social media. So we tell people when it's going on, but we need to expand that to be able to draw in more people to bid on this stuff, I guess. They advertise it too, but we're still only getting about that much a month.
I see. Okay.
Because you have so much jewelry, are you all kind of set on sticking with the jewelry selling theme? Or is it just kind of how else can we make money even if it doesn't really include the jewelry?
Well, I have expanded what we do with jewelry. So for instance, we used to do these pop-up sales at assisted living places because the reality is, like, let's just say Atria, they may have 500 people that live there, and then they have their family and friends, and they have businesses around, you know, the place. So if they want to have a pop-up jewelry sale, we know we have at least 500 people as an audience because that many people live there. So then if they invite their family and friends and local businesses, then that's great. Well, that all went to hell during COVID. So forget that. And we couldn't do any pop-up sales. However, I have offered to go into these assisted living places now that COVID's behind us and teach little classes on fun crafts to do with jewelry. So we have made some horseshoes wrapped in beads, and we've made sun catchers out of bracelets and beads. And I mean, think of all the beads we have. My gosh, I have mountains of beads. So anyway, I'm teaching classes on what fun things we can do with crafts. That's a win-win because the assisted living facility, they want me there because I'm a distraction and I'm teaching a class and doing something fun with the people that live there, and they can offer it as something fun to do for the people who live there. So they want me to do it. They want me to come like every month, and I'm like, I can't do that. I can, you know, we'll work out something where I come like every quarter, teach something new. And then, and the reality is you build a relationship with that assisted living place, and then they have you do a pop-up jewelry sale where you can actually sell some of the jewelry, and maybe they'll buy some to make crafts. You never know.
Janet, I have a question. I attended one of your spring events, I think in 2018. So probably just, you know, maybe one of the last ones before COVID. And I went with a group of girlfriends and we had a ball. We bought a ton of dollar jewelry and we just had the best time. I think it was at receptions out in Florence. So it's really nice to like know the story behind the event, and thank you for sharing your story too. My question is about, you mentioned a board. Can you talk a little bit about that and any other staff besides Monica?
Our board, I guess we have about 15 people on our board. They're all volunteers. We have our lawyer, our accountant, we're just a normal board. They make the decisions. It's a very yin yang board. Nothing gets decided on quickly. Everybody has their own opinions about everything. So I always say, if there's something that has to be decided, it's going to be a year before we vote on it because everybody wants to fight about it for a year. But that's a good thing. I'm not complaining about that because it's always good to have two sides of the coin, you know, disputing things every time we have something on the table. But no, our board is great. We have meetings 4 times a year. And Monica, do you want to say anything else about the board? We have a meeting coming up. We have an executive board. We meet once a month.
Are you looking to, in terms of just knowing who is maybe staff members, or do we have paid staff, or do we have kind of overhead in that case?
Yeah, do you have paid staff or full-time staff, or is it mostly volunteer based?
It
Yeah,
is all volunteer based. In terms of, you talk about an accountant and or a lawyer, those are things that are maybe a fee based things that you can't get away with without paying
Right.
type of things. In terms of, I mean, Janet is one of the people that would be part of that. But other than that, we may have consultants that work with us that we would have to pay for services and so forth. So, but you're looking at mainly a volunteer board here.
Yeah.
And overall, sorry, trying to mute some of my kids are going crazy.
Well, our office is downtown Cincinnati at 8th and Dalton. And that office is completely donated as well. So we don't pay rent. We don't have a lot of overhead, if that's what you're asking.
15, that's a big board. 15.
Yeah, it is. Mhm. That's why everything takes so long to get done.
Well, we have 7 voting members. The rest are all just advisory members. So they're not committed to happen to be at every meeting. But they're part of the board.
Okay. All right. Are there any other questions? All right. Thank you guys. Ladies, thank you so much for sharing more about I Have Wings. I think it's
Can I add one thing?
absolutely, Janet.
I've already talked with Stagnero. If you're familiar with Stagnero, they pretty much distribute all of the spirits in Northern Kentucky. And he called me and said, are you doing an event? Well, I told him that, we're talking about it right now. And I told him we were going to talk with you guys tonight. And he said, well, whatever you do, we're in. So I already know I've got the support of Stagnero, which is huge because that supplies your alcohol, and you're not going to get anybody to an event without alcohol. It's just the way it is. So we already know that he is supporting us in whatever we decide to do. The problem Monica and I have encountered, and we've looked around at several sites for an outdoor vendor event where we could have food trucks and like a stage if you wanted to have like a band or something. The problem is always comes down to parking. It always does. So and we have not committed to having an event someplace because it's got to be that perfect mix and it's got to have parking. And when you got like a place like Receptions, I mean, we even went back to Receptions and said, what about just renting us the parking lot, so we could do something outside. But then we're like, well, that takes away all of our parking, so that's always seems to be a challenge if you guys get together and start talking about, well, have an event and, do it. You always got to think about that silly thing, always throws a wrench in it. So I just wanted to add that. Yeah.
No, thank you. Yeah, makes sense.
Well, Amanda, you know where I live. So if you have any questions, you can email me or call me or anything. I'll be happy to shed some light on anything that you guys run into a brick wall on something.
Of course. Well, what our next steps will be is that after this call next month, we will have the women between now and next month, the women will kind of be thinking and brainstorming individually about whatever the challenge about your organization. Next month, we will launch August 9th. Is that the right date? Somewhere around there. We'll launch the 2-week challenge timeframe. This one is individual. So we are going to have some group brainstorming sessions, but you will receive 10 to 13 presentations on their potential solution to fit your problem. And then at the end of that, you will pick the one that fits the best. Now, obviously, there's always like, oh, I like a little bit of this one and a little bit of this one and a little bit of this one. And the solutions are all yours. They're your property after that, to do with what you will. But you will pick the one that's kind of like the best potential solution. And then a lot of times the ladies will kind of help with implementation of that. And a few of them, will say, okay, I'll help volunteer my time to help to implement those. So that'll kind of those will be the next steps. So again, it's not an overnight thing, but over the next couple of months, we should come up with some really good solutions for you. And
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be super fun.
What you guys come up with.
Yeah. I wanna write up my own. So
You need some jewelry though. You're not wearing any jewelry.
I know. I've got a few of the Pure Vito bracelets on.
Oh,
But,
the boho. See,
the
there you
boho.
go.
Yeah, yeah, I am. I kind of am. Well, really quick, we have just a few minutes. I did want to just briefly, the women that are on here, we've seen a few of them, but I want to know, just tell me your name, one thing about you, and one thing that you have really enjoyed about this summer. So let's see, and we're going to include Monica and Janet in this. So Monica, tell us your name. Well, we already know your name. It's Monica. One thing that you might want to share about yourself, and then one thing you've really enjoyed about this summer.
Oh, I feel like my summer's been loaded. The best way to describe myself is my family, of course, is first and foremost, but nothing in the different careers that I've had makes me more happy is to see others happy. That's what came into the event planning and seeing behind it. Even I did store management and retail and all of that. It's just making others happy is what makes me happy. I don't have to, of course, treat myself to things when I want them, but making others happy and seeing how an impact you can make on others is the best way I can describe myself. I've been very lucky to have a great summer. I'm very tan. I look dark in this picture of just being with my family. And we've been to New York and New Jersey and Naples and the lakes. So we have just, this will be the first weekend we've been home since the middle of May. So we have been nonstop all summer long. Now next week starts volleyball for my oldest. So we are home for good now.
Fun. Thank you, Monica. Kristen, you're next on my screen. What about you? Oh, wait a minute. You're still muted. Hold on.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry about that. I'm outside with the dogs and of course they all went crazy. Anyway, yes, I'm Kristen. I'm a police dispatcher for the University of Cincinnati Police. So I stay very busy both at work and all the overtime that I usually end up having to pull because of course, as a dispatcher, we have to make sure that there is coverage. So yeah, I'm very, very busy on that end. This summer, I think what I have loved the most is the fact that I've been able to reconnect with family on a more regular basis since the entire COVID, thing happened. I have an elderly father who's very sick, so we've had to be very careful around him. And it's just been very nice being able to see my family again more often, being able to be out in the yard doing the work, as you can see. It's just it's been a very good few months so far, and I've really enjoyed. I had to miss out basically on the last challenge because of everything that was going on. So I'm really looking forward to this one, and it's been nice to hear everyone's voices again.
Thank you, Kristen. Lindsay, you are next up on my screen.
Hi, ladies. I am Lindsay Conger. I work for Northern Kentucky Community Action Commission, and I've been there a really long time, over 10 years, and just really love serving in a nonprofit in the communities in Northern Kentucky. I think this summer we've been so busy, just personally and even at work professionally, we've been really busy with moving offices. I have 2 boys, a 4-year-old and a 13-year-old. And I think one of them is probably coming behind me, but this summer I really embrace, I think because my oldest is a teenager now, like every time he still gives me like a snuggle or, a hug, I really take time to embrace that and just cherish it. 'Cause I know it's like going to end soon. So it's even like when my little one who still likes to cuddle with me, I just really like take a moment and remember that. So that's how my summer is gone.
That's great, Lindsay. Thank you. Lisa, you're next.
Hi guys, Lisa Grout. I work at HR Elements. I do HR consulting. I've worked in HR for about 15 years now, which is kind of crazy. Summer's been good. My husband and I, we just bought an RV in March. And so one of the best things about summer so far is just spending a lot more time outside and getting away for long weekends and things like that. We're about ready to, in a couple weeks, we're going up to Michigan for a week with our RV to camp and everything. So hoping to spend a lot of time outside and hike and all that. So yeah, it's been a good summer.
It's good. It's really good. Janet, what about you? We've heard a lot about you.
Yeah, you guys have heard a lot about me. So I will just say that something you don't know is that when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, the doctor said, when I saw the surgeon, she said, well, you can have a lumpectomy, a mastectomy, or do nothing. And I said, I kind of like that third option. And I really, really would like to do nothing. And she said, then you'll be dead in 10 years. And now I'm a 21-year survivor, and I have 13 grandkids. And that was the best part of my summer, was reconnecting. We rented a house in the Outer Banks, and all of the kids and their spouses and the grandkids all spent a week together. And it was heaven. It was really, really nice being able to reconnect with all those kids. So that's it.
That's wonderful. Last but certainly not least, Brett.
Hi guys. So I'm Brett. My sister and I, we have a joint Instagram to where we promote small business restaurants around the area. We're super passionate about it, about promoting small business, especially after this past year. And then my favorite thing about this summer, I ref soccer. I've been reffing for like 10 years, and finally being able to ref soccer and, be able to travel. A lot of my closest friends are referees. So being able to travel with them across the state and also kind of across the country too for different tournaments. It's been awesome to be around them and reconnecting. So, and of course, reffing the kids too. So, yeah.
Aw, that's great, Brett. Yeah, you guys check out her Instagram, Gluttonous Girls on Instagram, her and Blair. They have great reviews of a bunch of local restaurants. I love what they do with that. And they have these great pictures of the food, and then they talk about it. And they've got you have a blog with that too, right?
Yeah, we do. we have a blog. Blair is definitely the writer. She's an amazing writer, and that's in our bio on our Instagram. So yeah, definitely check it out. Yeah, we're all about promoting small business. So it's been a lot of
Absolutely.
fun.
Gluttonous girls, for sure.
Yeah.
Super fun. All right, you guys, thank you so much. Again, I'm gonna just a couple of really quick, I don't wanna forget, a couple of really quick announcements. We've got Frost House next week, next Thursday night. It's at 6. We made it a little bit earlier. They have food. If you haven't been there, they have food. You can eat there, or you can eat before you get there or after, whatever, just have a drink. They have, I've heard the drinks are amazing. They also have coffee and non-alcoholic drinks as well. And then so next Thursday night, Frost House in Covington. Don't miss it. We're gonna have alumni there as well as this current year. So really nice little networking time. It'll be fun. Then individual challenge next month, August 9th through the 23rd. I will set up a couple of Zoom sessions if you guys want. It's just optional if you want to do some brainstorming with others. Independent problem solving and brainstorming is important. So I wanted to at least have you guys do one on your own. Those are important skills to kind of learn and grow in. So while it's independent, you also have a time to bounce ideas off of each other. So I will send out a couple of Zoom invites for that 2 weeks. Q4, you will be receiving information soon about Q4 because the initial meeting is going to be done a little bit differently. Q4, our charity meeting is going to be done in person, and it is going to be done at a retreat. Our Q4 charity is going to be called Care Farm, and it is a retreat for parents who have lost children. They have land out in Brookville, Kentucky. It's out near Maysville, and they have glamps, and they have places that we can park RVs or pitch tents or whatever. So there's also going to be the opportunity to stay the night as well. So it's their open house weekend. So you're going to get to learn all about Care Farm. We're going to have some brainstorming and some fun time. That is October 2nd. The first week of October. I hope everyone can come. That is their open house weekend. So we thought we'd kill 2 birds with 1 stone and do the charity meeting that same week. So everyone is invited the weekend of October 2nd to Care Farm land. And I will send you more information about that, but I wanted to let you know ASAP so that you can get that on your calendar. So thanks again, everyone. Let me know if you have any questions about anything, but I will be in touch. And I will see you next Thursday at Frost House. Text me or let me know if you need a ride or want to carpool. So thanks again for coming tonight, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks, Monica. Thanks, Jan.
Thanks, guys.
All right,
Thanks,
bye, you guys.
Thank you,
Okay.
guys. Bye. Hey, Mandy.